The salt water didn't sting as much as the betrayal. Nia lay on the rotting wood of the abandoned pier, the rain hammering against her face like stones. She couldn't feel her legs anymore. She could only feel the jagged piece of wood lodged in her side, and the cold, creeping realization that this was it. She had run from the debt collectors. She had run from the system. She had run from every man who ever tried to own her. But you can't run when your body is broken. She closed her eyes, waiting for the end, waiting for the darkness. Instead, she felt a shadow, a presence so heavy, so commanding it blocked out the storm. She forced her eyes open. He was standing there, a silhouette cut from the night itself, tall, impeccable, expensive suit soaked through, hair plastered to a face that looked like it was carved from cold marble. Kim Joon-Ho, the Shadow King of Seoul's underworld, the man everyone feared. He didn't look at the storm, he looked at her. And for the first time in his life, the man who never showed emotion looked terrified. He dropped to his knees in the mud, ruining a $5,000 suit without a second thought. "Nia," he growled, his voice cutting through the thunder. She tried to speak, but only coughed blood. He leaned in, his dark eyes burning into hers. "Why?" he whispered, his voice shaking with a rage she knew wasn't directed at her. "Why didn't you call me?" The world was spinning. The pain in Nia's side was a white-hot fire, pulsing with every heartbeat. She tried to push herself up, to crawl away, but her body refused to obey. "Joon-Ho?" she rasped. It was barely a sound. He didn't hesitate. He didn't ask permission. He slid his arms under her, one beneath her knees, one supporting her back. He lifted her as if she weighed nothing more than a feather. "I've got you," he said. It wasn't a comfort. It was a command, a declaration of ownership. Nia wanted to fight him. She wanted to tell him to put her down, that she didn't need the help of a criminal warlord. But the warmth radiating from his chest was the only thing keeping the cold at bay. Her head lulled against his shoulder. She could smell him, rain, expensive leather, and sandalwood. "Don't close your eyes," he ordered, walking briskly down the swaying pier toward a waiting black sedan. "Stay with me, Nia." "I messed up," she whispered, the darkness creeping in at the edges of her vision. "The job, it was a setup." "I know," Joon-Ho said grimly. "We'll talk about your poor choices later. Right now, your only job is to breathe." The back door of the car opened. He settled her onto the soft leather seats, climbing in right beside her. He didn't let go. He pulled her into his lap, pressing a handkerchief to the wound in her side. "Drive," he barked at the driver, "and call Dr. Choi. Tell him to meet us at the estate, now." As the car sped away, leaving the bloody pier behind, Nia looked up at him. His jaw was clenched so tight a muscle feathered in his cheek. "You're angry," she murmured. Joon-Ho looked down. His eyes were endless dark pools. "Angry doesn't begin to cover it, Nia. You are bleeding out in my arms because you were too stubborn to ask for help. You stole from my enemies to pay a debt you shouldn't have had. You risked everything." "I had to," she breathed, "for Maya." At the mention of her sister's name, Joon-Ho's expression shifted. The anger didn't leave, but something else joined it. Pain? Regret? "Rest," he said softly, his hand brushing the damp curls off her forehead. "We are going home." Home. Nia closed her eyes. She didn't have a home. She had a leaky apartment in Queens and a sister she couldn't protect. But as the car swallowed the miles, wrapped in Joon-Ho's arms, she let herself believe the lie.
just for tonight.
Waking up in Joon-Ho's estate was like waking up in a museum. Nia blinked, her eyes adjusting to the soft morning light filtering through massive velvet drapes. She wasn't in a hospital. She was in a bed large enough to sleep a family of 4, covered in silk sheets that cost more than her car. She tried to sit up and hissed. The pain in her side was duller now, a throbbing ache rather than a sharp stab. She looked down. She was wearing a soft, oversized t-shirt. Her side was bandaged professionally. Her twisted ankle was braced. "You're awake." The voice came from the corner of the room. Nia turned. Joon-Ho was sitting in a wing-back chair reading a tablet. He had changed out of the soaked suit. Now he wore a dark gray turtleneck and black slacks. He looked domestic. Dangerous, but domestic. "How long have I been out?" Nia asked, her voice raspy. 3 days, Joon-Ho said calmly, setting the tablet down. "Dr. Choi said you lost a lot of blood. You needed sleep." 3 days? Nia panicked, trying to swing her legs out of bed. "Maya, my sister, she—" "Is fine," Joon-Ho interrupted. He stood up and walked to the bedside, his presence instantly filling the room. "She is at school. I have men watching her. Invisible men. She doesn't know they are there, but she is safe." Nia slumped back against the pillows. "You're watching my sister?" "I am protecting what matters to you," he corrected. He poured a glass of water from a crystal carafe and handed it to her. "Drink." Nia took the glass. Her hands were shaking. Joon-Ho noticed. He reached out and wrapped his large, warm hand around hers, steadying the glass until she drank. "Why am I here, Joon-Ho?" Nia asked, looking at him over the rim of the glass. "Why didn't you take me to a hospital?" "Hospitals ask questions. Police ask questions. And considering you were injured while breaking into a warehouse owned by the Jang syndicate, I thought you might prefer to avoid prison." Nia looked away. "I didn't know it was the Jang syndicate. I just knew they had the money I needed to pay off the loan sharks." Nia stiffened. "You investigated me. I have known everything about you since the day we met in that jazz club 2 years ago. I knew you were struggling. I knew you were taking dangerous jobs to pay for your sister's tuition. I waited, Nia. I waited for you to come to me." He leaned in closer, bracing his hands on the mattress on either side of her hips. "So I will ask you again. Why didn't you?" Nia met his gaze. "Because I know who you are, Joon-Ho. You aren't just a businessman. You're the king of the underworld. If I asked you for help, I would owe you, and I don't want to belong to you." Joon-Ho's eyes darkened. A humorless smile touched his lips. "You think you don't belong to me already? You think I would have let anyone else touch you? If you had called, I would have burned the city down to get to you. Instead, I had to find you broken on a pier." He pulled back, the intensity in the room suffocating. "You need to eat. I'll have Mrs. Park bring you porridge." He turned to leave. "Joon-Ho," Nia called out. He didn't turn around. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for saving me." He didn't turn around. "Don't thank me yet, Nia. You are safe, but you are not free. We have much to discuss." The recovery was slow. For a week, Nia was confined to the guest wing. Mrs. Park, a kind, elderly Korean woman with a smile that crinkled her eyes, brought her endless bowls of abalone porridge and ginseng tea. "You are too skinny," Mrs. Park would scold in broken English. "Boss says make you strong." Nia learned the rhythm of the house. It was quiet. Too quiet. Men in suits moved through the hallways like ghosts. Joon-Ho was often gone during the day, but every evening he would come to her room. Sometimes they talked, sometimes they just sat in silence while he worked on his laptop and she read books from his library. It was a strange, comfortable captivity, but the question of the debt still hung over her. One evening, Joon-Ho came in looking more tired than usual. He tossed a file onto her bed. "Open it." Nia opened the folder. Inside were photos. Photos of the men who had hired her for the heist. Photos of them meeting with Joon-Ho's rivals. "They set you up," Joon-Ho said, pouring himself a drink from the sidebar. "The Jang syndicate knew you were desperate. They hired you to steal from me, Nia." Nia froze. "What? No. The warehouse, it was a shipping supply depot." "It was a front," Joon-Ho said. "A front for my operations. They wanted you to get caught. They wanted me to kill you." "Why?" "Because they knew I had a soft spot for the American jazz singer with the sad eyes," Joon-Ho said, taking a sip of whiskey. "They wanted to use you to send a message. They thought if I killed you myself, it would break me, or if I saved you, it would show weakness." Nia felt sick. "I broke into your warehouse? I stole from you?" "You tried to," he corrected. "My security systems are better than that. You tripped the silent alarms. But the Jang men, they were waiting outside. They attacked you before my security could even get there." He walked over to the window, looking out at the sprawling garden. "They beat you. They left you on that pier to die, to mock me." Nia touched the bandage on her side. "So, I'm a liability?" Joon-Ho turned, his expression fierce. "No, you are a declaration of war." He walked over to Nia, his movements predatory. "I wiped them out, Nia. The men who hired you, the men who beat you, they are gone. The debt you owed them, gone." Nia gasped. "You killed them?" "I handled business," he said coldly. "But now there is the matter of what you owe me." Nia swallowed hard. "I don't have money, Joon-Ho, you know that." "I don't want money," he said. He sat on the edge of the bed. "I want you to stop running. I want you to stay." "Stay? Here?" "The Jang syndicate is not the only threat. Now that everyone knows I saved you, you are a target. If you leave this house, you die. If you go back to your apartment, they will find you. They will find Maya." Nia's heart hammered. "So, I'm a prisoner?" "You are a guest," he said gently, reaching out to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear. "But yes, you cannot leave, not until I say it is safe." "And Maya?" "I have arranged for her to transfer to a boarding school upstate. High security, the best education. Paid for." "I can't accept that." "You will," he said, his voice hard, "because you love her, and because you are smart enough to know you can't protect her on a waitress salary while fighting a Mafia war." He stood up. "Rest, Nia. Tomorrow you will start your physical therapy. You need to be strong. Being the lady of this house requires stamina." "Lady of the house?" Nia sputtered. "Joon-Ho, we aren't— I'm not—" He paused at the door, a smirk playing on his lips. "Not yet." Weeks turned into a month. Nia regained her strength. Her limp faded. She started to explore the house. She found the library, the pool, and a locked room at the end of the east wing. She also found that she missed him when he was gone. Joon-Ho was complicated. He was ruthless to his enemies, but to her he was endlessly patient. He listened to her rant about politics. He ate the soul food she taught Mrs. Park how to cook, though he complained it was too salty. One rainy afternoon, the front doors opened and a whirlwind of teenage energy flew in. "Nia! Maya!" Nia dropped her cane and caught her sister in a hug. Maya looked healthy, happy, and was wearing a school uniform that looked more expensive than Nia's car. "Oh my God, Nia, this place is insane!" Maya squealed, pulling back. "Mr. Kim sent a car for me. He said you were recovering from surgery?" Nia shot a look at Joon-Ho, who was standing by the door, hands in his pockets, looking pleased with himself. "Yes," Nia lied. "Surgery." "And he said he's your boyfriend?" Maya wiggled her eyebrows. "Girl, you held out on me. He's fine, like K-drama fine." Nia blushed furiously. "He is a friend,
A very good friend. Joon-Ho stepped forward. Welcome, Maya. Your room is ready. Mrs. Park will show you. As Maya ran off to explore, Nia turned to Joon-Ho. Boyfriend? He shrugged. It was the easiest explanation for why you are living here and why I am paying her tuition, unless you prefer captor. Nia laughed. It was the first time she had truly laughed in months. You're impossible. I am effective, he countered. He walked closer to her. The air shifted. It became charged, heavy. Come with me, he said. There is something I want to show you. He led her to the locked room in the east wing. He pulled a key from his pocket and opened it. Nia expected a dungeon or a weapons room. Instead, it was a studio. Sunlight poured in through skylights. The room was filled with clay, metal wire, and sculptures. Beautiful, intricate sculptures of birds. You make these? Nia asked, stunned. My father wanted me to be a killer, Joon-Ho said quietly, picking up a small silver sparrow. But I wanted to be an artist. This is my escape. He handed her the silver bird. It was heavy, cool to the touch. I made this while you were asleep, he said. It reminded me of you, broken wing but still trying to fly. Nia looked up at him. The walls she had built around her heart, the walls that told her men were dangerous, that she had to do it all alone, crumbled. Joon-Ho, she whispered, why do you care so much? I'm nobody. I'm just a girl from Queens. You are the only person who ever looked at me and didn't see a monster. That night at the jazz club, you sang for me. You didn't know who I was. You just saw a lonely man in the corner. He reached out and cupped her face. His thumb traced her lower lip. You are not nobody, Nia. You are the only thing in this world that is real. He kissed her. It wasn't a demanding kiss. It was a question, a plea. Nia answered it. She wrapped her arms around his neck, pulling him closer. He groaned low in his throat, his arms tightening around her waist, lifting her off her feet. For a moment, there was no Mafia, no debt, no danger. Just the rain against the skylight and the heat of the man who had saved her. But peace is a fragile thing in the underworld. The remnants of the Jang syndicate weren't done. 2 days after Maya arrived, the estate alarms blared. Code Red, the security chief shouted. Joon-Ho was in the kitchen with Nia and Maya, making coffee. He changed instantly. The artist was gone. The killer was back. Get to the safe room, he ordered Nia. Take Maya. Go. What's happening? Maya screamed. Go! Joon-Ho roared. He pulled a gun from a hidden holster under the kitchen island. Nia grabbed Maya's hand and ran. They made it to the hidden panic room behind the library bookcase just as the first gunshot shattered the front window. Inside the safe room, watching the security monitors, Nia saw the war. Men in masks stormed the house. Joon-Ho moved like a demon. He was precise, lethal. He took down 3 men before they even crossed the foyer. But there were too many. One of them slipped past him. He was heading for the library. He's coming for us, Maya whispered, terrified. Nia looked around the safe room. There were weapons on the wall. She had never fired a gun, but she remembered what Joon-Ho had told her. You are fire and steel. She grabbed a heavy metal bat from the rack. Stay here, she told Maya. Nia, no! Nia stepped out of the safe room just as the masked man entered the library. He raised his gun. Nia swung. Crack! She hit him in the knee. He howled and fell. She swung again, hitting the gun out of his hand. Then a second man appeared in the doorway. He aimed at Nia. She froze. This was it. Bang! The man dropped. Behind him stood Joon-Ho, holding smoke from his pistol.
His shirt was torn, blood on his shoulder. He looked at Nia holding the bat over the unconscious intruder. He looked at the man he had just shot. He walked over to her, kicking the intruder's gun away. "I told you to stay in the safe room," he breathed, checking her for injuries. "I couldn't let them get Maya," she said, shaking. Joon-Ho pulled her into a crushing hug. He buried his face in her scent, breathing in her scent. "You are crazy, my beautiful, crazy warrior." The attack was the final straw. Joon-Ho didn't just defeat the Jang syndicate, he erased them. By morning, there was no one left to threaten his family. Yes, family. A week later, Nia stood on the pier again, the same pier where she had almost died. It was rebuilt now. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the water. Joon-Ho stood beside her. He held her hand. "You know," he said, looking at the water, "this is where I almost lost you." "And where you found me," she replied. He turned to her. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. "I don't want to be your savior anymore, Nia," he said seriously. "I want to be your partner. I want you to run this empire by my side. I want to build a world where Maya is safe, where you never have to run again." He opened the box. Inside sat a diamond that looked like captured starlight, set in silver shaped like wings. "Marry me." Nia looked at the ring. Then she looked at the man, the monster who had burned the world for her, the artist who made her silver birds. "You know," she smiled, tears in her eyes, "if I say yes, I'm really never getting out of this life." "That's the point," Joon-Ho smirked, leaning in to kiss her. "Good, because I'm done running." And as the sun dipped below the horizon, the Shadow King and his queen walked back to the car, leaving the ghosts of the past in the water, ready to rule the night together.